Welcome to Sports Talk with Kifu, and I'm your host, Kifu Njabulonga Mahlango, and this is the interview edition. You guys know every time I give you guys interviews of people that are prominent in sports and people that are involved in South African sports, or just sports in general. That's where we're building up towards. Today I have a man that's played for Leeds, but hey, his playing career uh, wasn't it didn't get to those heights that he'd wish. I don't know. He'll tell us, but he's been a coach, and his coaching actually he's been using a 4-4-2, and he's actually had quite a good career actually coaching. I'd say he's had a better career coaching than he had playing. But anyway, I'll welcome Dylan Kerr. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Finally, we've got it.
Yeah, we were supposed to do this for you guys. We were supposed to do this the previous day, but anyway.
I'm with watching soccer, but English soccer's back on now. I've been watching the athletics. I've been watching the Olympics. I watched the rugby last night. I hate rugby, but I watched the rugby last night, obviously because of the British Lions, who were robbed, I think.
I actually on that I said it in my podcast that I was like, nah. In the first two games, TMO was too involved, and then the third one, I was like, South Africa is gonna win this one. I knew that the first one we'd lose because we hadn't played a test for like 2 years, and obviously the British and Irish Lions are playing the top six or whatever. It's top six, right? Six Nations. Oh,
yeah,
I forget. Yeah. And I'd watched the Six Nations, so I was like, first test they'd win. Second test, everyone got away with something though. In the second test, the third test,
agreed.
And the first test,
no,
British and Irish Lions had more luck with the TMO, so it kind of balanced out, to be honest.
It was good banter. I was in a pub full of Afrikaners, so there's only me, the British man. So yeah, the banter was good. No, it was okay. But I hate rugby. But I was supporting the British and Irish Lions. I was just winding the Afrikaners up. I just wind the Bokker up, And at the end of it, they were all teasing me because they'd won. So
So you had fun at the pub, because I saw you posted.
Yeah.
So okay, let's start. Okay, so you grew up in England. Where exactly in England?
I grew up in a town called Mexborough. It's in the middle of South Yorkshire. It's surrounded by cities like Sheffield, Doncaster, Rotherham, and Barnsley, which obviously there's football league clubs in those areas. And it was a mining village, mining town. So back in the day, everybody was a miner, coal miner, including my dad. I moved there when I was 2 years old. I was born in Malta. My dad was in the Navy, in the Merchant Navy, and he married my mum there. And I came along. And yeah, I left. I moved to Scotland in 1997, where I still had my house in a place called Troon, which is on the west coast of Scotland. And it's currently rented by, funny and all, a couple from Cape Town. So the last time I was in my house was in 2009, when I came over to see one of my best friends, Sammy Troughton, who eventually brought me back to work in South Africa with Mpumalanga Black Aces. Mm-hmm.
So how did you start with your? Okay. So how did you start with your playing career? Because obviously your dad is a miner, and then now how do you start playing football, or what gets you into football?
Well, when I was a kid, I always used to watch. My dad was only an amateur. He only played Saturday amateur and on a Sunday with his friends in a pub league. And obviously my dad used to take me to the football, and I think it was about 5 years of age when I actually made my dad actually put a football strip on me, and if I can find the photo, I don't think I will be able to find it, but I'll have a look while we're talking. If I was 5 years old, I was mascot for my dad's team, and they won the cup. In the cup, we won the cup, and I'm standing there with my trophy. Like I said, I'll try and while I'm talking to you, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to find this picture if I can find it. And it was from there. I just wanted to be a footballer. I love watching my dad. I would love watching his pals play. I used to love that. It used to be brilliant, watching my dad play as a kid. And then I started playing school football, played junior football, and that's the only thing I wanted to be. I just wanted to be a footballer. And I nearly didn't make it because in England, you actually get they're called blue forms, where you sign for a football team. So like it's a Rotherham or Doncaster, but I never got that opportunity until I was playing with my dad for my dad's football team, which again was amateur. And I nearly didn't play, but I did play. And then, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. Dylan. So how do you sign for the Owls? Because you didn't play. You almost didn't play.
I signed for Sheffield Wednesday. I was playing. Like I say, I was playing for my dad's team. My dad asked me to play, and I actually refused. I said no, but he kept begging me. So whether he knew that there was a scout there, whether he knew that there was somebody there watching, I don't know. But I played, and I think I scored 3 goals. I was a left midfielder. I think I scored about 3 goals, and then they offered me the scout, who was an old guy. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to find this picture. The scout was an old guy. Here, I found it. So let me turn the camera on. So I think you can.
Oh, that's your father's team.
That's my father. There, the
coach,
the second,
second
there, and that's me. That's me with the trophy.
You can't please move it a bit to the left. Yes, yeah. Oh, your father, you are with the trophy, right at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm with the trophy.
Yeah, I can see.
That's my. So they offered me a trial at Sheffield Wednesday. So I went there, and when I got there, the manager was Jack Charlton, and he resigned. And he went to the Republic of Ireland national team. And Howard Wilkinson came in, and Howard loved players to run. He loved fitness. And I was a fitness fanatic. I could run all day. And in the 4 weeks I had on trial, when we used to do pre-season, we used to run for like an hour and a half non-stop, around reservoirs, up and down valleys, in and out of forests. We used to run non-stop. And the last 3 kilometers, he would say, right, back to the car, and I would just go. I would leave him for dead. And the senior players hated me. I got this young 16-year-old were beating everybody, and they offered me a 1-year apprentice professional contract, which I signed, and then the following year I signed my first professional contract. And again, it was. They told me 4 or 5 weeks before, no, 3 months before, that I wasn't really a midfielder, but they thought I could be a left fullback. And I practiced from must have been 6, 7, 8 weeks, to try and become a left fullback. And because I'd shown that, integrity and that want to do it, they gave me a 1-year pro contract, and I signed professionally for Sheffield Wednesday when I was 17. And I never made a debut. I never played a game. I thought I was going to make my debut against Liverpool, but Howard didn't think I was ready, so he brought a player on loan. And then at the end of that season, I was released by Sheffield Wednesday. I was told I wasn't going to be extended in my contract, and that's when I came to South Africa.
Yeah, because it says you bounced around. When I was doing research, it says you bounced around a lot. You were a Leeds player, and then you kept on getting loaned out a lot. Because even when I researched, it says like you played 200 and something minutes in the Premier League.
Yeah, like I say, look, I mean, when I came to South Africa, I thought I'd blown my chance. I thought it was all done, and I spent 3 years in South Africa. But then Howard Wilkinson went to Leeds United, and when I went back one Christmas, I asked him if I could train to keep myself fit, because I was coming back to sign for Kaizer Chiefs.
Oh.
And I played 6 reserve games, and I did really, really well. But Howard said, no, I'm doing really well in Africa. He's had rave reviews about me. I was doing very, very well in South Africa. I just agreed to join Chiefs. I flew back. Before I flew, before I flew out, I met Ted, Dimitru and Kaizer, and we discussed, the possibility. And then I was on my way back to South Africa when I got a phone call from Howard, saying that they were going to offer me an 18-month contract. And would I stay? After telling me that I could go back to South Africa. So I phoned Kaizer up, I phoned Stanley Potts up, phoned Mr. Saul Sachs at Arcadia, told them, and they gave me the blessing and said, yeah, brilliant, well done. And I signed for Leeds United. But, we had some good players at Leeds United. And in my position particularly, we had Jim Beglin, Tony DeRigo, Glyn Snodding, a young boy called Mike Wicklow, and also Gary Speed.
Okay.
So the problem was they never got injured, they never got suspended. Obviously, Gary became, a Leeds and a Premier League icon with the amount of appearances he's made. And Tony DeRigo was an international left back. Jim Beglin was an Irish international left back, played for Liverpool. So I was always in the squads. I was always named in the squads to travel, but I was always the odd one out. But being part of that group, helped me, in my coaching, because of the way that the players played, the attitudes, the characters, and obviously Howard Wilkinson. He's my mentor in football. He's the one that I will never play like him, but I want to be like him. Because of his it was very, very tough. It was very, very hard, but he was very honest. That's one thing that I value mostly is when you're talking to players and you're talking to team owners or anybody. Just be honest, just tell them the truth. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, then tough. But yeah, I found it very, very difficult, and I was there 3.5 years. And I couldn't get in the team. It's not for the lack of trying, just couldn't get in the team. And I went on loan to Blackpool and Doncaster just to get some experience. And then when they offered me a new 2-year deal at the end of that contract, and I said no, because Gordon Strachan, Scottish Man United legend, who was playing at Leeds, he told me that I'm too good not to play in a first team, so I should move on. It's nice being at Leeds United, but you should carve out your own career. And I got 2 offers, one from Huddersfield, which is just down the road from Leeds, and just down the road from where I lived. And then I got an offer from Reading, and I spoke to a former coach at Blackpool, Billy Ayres, God rest his soul, and I asked him which team, and he straight away, Reading all day long. So I left Leeds and I signed for Reading for £75,000, which isn't a lot compared to Grealish. That 100 million.
Yeah. But you eventually actually ended up becoming you've been so linked with South Africa that it's actually strange that you actually were here and you actually flew here, and then when you flew here you actually went back to Leeds. That's a very strange thing.
Yeah, it was like I say, you always have ambitions, you always have goals in life, and I'd let myself down at Sheffield Wednesday. Not that I regret it. I mean, I partied as a 17-year-old like you'll never ever know 17-year-old will party. I slept with women at 30, 40, 50 years old at 17. I was going nightclubbing with pop superstars of the time. And my social activities were more important than my football. But I still worked hard on my football, but I neglected. I thought as a 17-year-old, once I'd signed professional football, I was a professional footballer for life.
Mm.
You know, and I fucked up, and I admit it. I don't regret it. I don't regret it. But you know, coming to South Africa made me a better player and a better person. You know, I left home at 18. You know, to a foreign country in the middle of apartheid. You know, so I had to understand the cultures and I understand the rules and regulations. And, you know, it was really, really tough for a foreigner to come here and see what was happening. But, you know, at the same time, you look at the country back in 1986, you know, it was absolutely beautiful, this country. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, there was no, people were employed. People got jobs. There was no unemployment. The hospitals were always brilliant. The services were always delivered. The streets were beautiful. The houses, I mean, it was absolutely an amazing country. It still is, but you know, it's got its problems. We got rid of apartheid, but we're still, you know, nothing's moved on from, you know, local people, the main people who live in Soweto, in Attridgeville, in Alexandria, in Shishago, all these townships. Nothing's changed, you know, and it's a shame. It's a shame because, you know, they had the chance. I thought when the top man Nelson got released, I thought it would have just destroyed those townships and built, you know, new homes for his people of South Africa. And look 26 years later, you know, they're still there, and you know, it's well founded about the corruption and the money that's been wasted, but it's an amazing country, and it made me a better player, made me a better person, you know. And I got into some trouble with Afrikaans people, you know, because I was playing a black man's sport. No, I mean, I took a girl used to sit outside our training camp at the Callies, and she was in a wheelchair. She had no legs, and I was walking up Pretoria Street, and I said, "Come on, I'll walk with you." So I pushed her, and she needed to pee. And I'm like, you know, so I went into this shop and I said, "Listen, you know, this lady needs to pee. Can she use your bathroom?" And the two white ladies said, "No, Nia, you've got to go to," and it was too far. So bless her, she was that desperate. She actually peed in the shop, and I loved it. I loved it because I didn't want. I thought, fuck you. Honestly, I thought she can't sit on your toilet to pee. You know, a disabled lady with no legs can't use your bathroom. So I just waited there, and she said, "I need to pee." I said, "Go and pee." She peed, and bless her, she peed herself. It went through the chair all on their floor. Them two white women's faces was hilarious. So I've seen something. I've been invited. I'm always in a shebeen. I'm always in people's houses, wherever we've played. We've always, after the game, we've always been into somebody's house, you know, and had a beer or six and sat around the fire and had pap and fleece, and I've done it all as a kid. So it made me a better person coming to this country.
Did you ever play? When did you play for Chiefs?
No, I didn't play for Chiefs. At the end of when I left to go home, I'd agreed to sign for Chiefs. And then, like I said, I went and trained with Leeds United, and then Leeds United told me to go back to South Africa. And the next day, they phoned me up and said they'd changed their mind. They wanted me to stay. So I never got my opportunity to play for my team, Chiefs, for life.
Oh, so you got to enjoy South Africa once you had stopped playing, once you had actually kind of retired.
Yeah, I mean, look, there was no internet back in the day. There was no mobile phones. So I lost contact with Sammy Troughton. And then through the wonders of internet, you know, I put in his name, and he'd just been promoted to head coach at Tuks. So I called him and I said, "Look, it'd be good to come back and see you." And he invited me over and said, "Listen, come over and do some training with us, you know, with Black Aces." And then I came over for 2 weeks, and he asked me to join him. asked me to stay and become his assistant, which I did. Went back to Scotland, packed up everything, and 2 weeks later I came back to South Africa, and that was September 2009, and I've not been back since to my house in Scotland.
So how do you start coaching? Because you have that, you play, but you really don't play a lot. So how does the end of your career come about? And then now, how do you now start saying, okay, now let me get my coaching badges? Because obviously you had your coaching badges before you could, you started helping him out coaching, right?
Yeah, I mean, what happened was, I had 2 serious injuries. I didn't play for 3 years, a year and a half at Reading and a year and a half at Kilmarnock. So that's why I didn't play that many, because I had 2 very serious injuries. One that forced me to retire at the age of 32. But I was working. I've always been coaching junior teams. I coached at Reading. I coached at Kilmarnock. I even coached at Leeds United, some youth teams. I did my first coaching license in 1988 in South Africa. I did my English prelim, and because I used to take a team which included Phil Masinga, Mark Fish, and Lucas Radebe. So I was coaching them. As I was 18. I think they were under 14s, Colts players, and yeah, it was then that I thought, yeah, I want to be a coach. And then 2001, I took my license because I retired at 2001. So I took my coaching license, and I failed it because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And my partner at the time was this guy. I think you might know him. I think he's Jose Mourinho. He was my partner on the course, and nobody believed who we were. Nobody. Which Jose Mourinho, Barcelona? Yeah, give me. Until like day 7 in the license, he brought a picture with him stood next to Ronaldinho and frigging Bobby Robson. So it was like, wow, he is. But I don't know, when we left, obviously you don't get your results there and then. So when we left the course, I don't know if he passed or if he didn't pass or anything. But I failed. And then I moved to America to coach with kids in America. And then when I came back in 2005, I did my resit and I passed. And I'm so pleased I passed, because the assessor was the worst assessor of all time. You did not want this guy. You did not want this guy. If you didn't put the marker straight, you would fail. If you didn't put the right number of markers, you would fail. If you didn't put the right, if you didn't have everything organized pre your delivery, you would fail. So whatever I did, I had to do it with this guy, and I did. So I'm really, really proud of that. And that's when I started, to then. I moved up with the Scottish FA for 4 years, coaching adults, coaching kids, and I'm also a coach educator to level 4 in UEFA. So that's when I started doing it. And coming over with Sammy was the start of my professional coaching career as an assistant, which was very, very successful to a point where other people, other influencers would come in and kind of kill Sammy. And obviously, when Sammy left, I left with him. So we went to Tanda Royal Zulu. So that's when the journey started, I think, in 2009, when I came to my first professional club at Black Aces.
So, and it's actually strange. Did you ever think of career in commentary? Because seeing that you're so forthright, I mean, even Jim is actually a commentary legend more than a footballing legend, which is actually quite strange. Almost like who's this, Alan Smith, more of a commentary legend, although he's
Yeah.
But the commentary has made them so relevant for such a long time.
Could you imagine me being on EA Sports on the PlayStation game, this accent? And I swear too much, so I could never be a commentator. No, I'm not really. I mean, I did the TV analysis for the Euros, which was absolutely fantastic. But no, commentating is different. It's a different ball game. Commentating, you know, I'm too caught up in the moments of football. So you could imagine, you know, somebody shoots, oh fucking what a great goal! What the fucking yeah, get in there! You know, I'd be, oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
And another what do you think about South African football analysis? Because a lot of people have actually been complaining about when it comes to football analysis in games, like when let's say I'm watching a match, and then in between, especially half times when you're watching the DSTV Premiership. Now, back then it was ABSA and then it was Castle or whatever, but it's iterations. Whenever now you're watching it, you kind of don't get a lot of insight. A lot of the things are things
you
that
don't
you see.
You don't, because when you haven't played the game, it's very difficult. Sorry, my eyes itching. When you haven't played the game, it's very, very difficult to think of a footballer. You know, Rulani, you know, he's a very, very well spoken. He knows the game inside and out, but he's never played. You know, and had he played, he could be better. He could become better. You know, because you go on.
I was saying, a lot of this is actually coming from professional footballers that have played, and still their analysis, in my opinion, and in some other people's opinion, isn't up to the standard that
no,
actually supposed to be.
Because I think people overthink. And what I learned on my first day at the Euros, when I was thinking about what to say, you know, I was like, you know, because I was thinking, and I rewatched the first half of what I did, and I thought, I don't make sense, because I'm trying to be clever, you know, when I don't need to be clever. I just need to see it as I say it as I see it. And that's what I did. You know, I explained, you know, the whys and why, hows and what ifs and what could have been. I'm not, you know, all these stats, these analysts, these statistics and that doesn't interest me. The one thing that interests me is the score. 1-0, 2-0, that's it, end of. You know, where they can go on about, you know, he's having 800 touches and he's done 8.9 kilometers. Who cares? Who cares? Where's the problem? Where's the team doing well? Where's the defense doing bad? What's the goalkeeper's positioning like? Did they make the right decision to shoot? Did they make the right decision to, you know, keep the ball? Is it handball? Is it offside? And I found that, and I do find that there's a lot of people that do the analysis. They don't look at that. They talk about other things that are not relevant to that game. You know, but you know, everybody's got an opinion on football. Everybody's right. It doesn't matter. Nobody's got a wrong opinion on football, because it's your opinion. But yeah, it's now become multicultural. You know, we've got more women involved. We've got more women. We've got women commentators now that have been commentating on the World Cup. And I say, you know, you fix on the two teams. You fix on who's doing well, who's doing badly, how they can get better, how they can, you know, make things happen, and work on that premise. You only need. I did the World Cup in 2010, where I did all the clippings for all the halftime and full time shows, and you know, the fact that you see something that you might not see, that's, you know, like the, you know, the wonder goal that the Czech Republic scored, where he hit it from the halfway line against Scotland.
Yeah,
you know, nobody saw that the guy actually looked twice before he hit the ball. You know, and that's, you know, he didn't just hit it and you know, he checked once, and then as he's going to hit it, he checked again, and that as soon as he hit it, then what a goal, you know. But you have to go back, and why did that happen? Because if he'd have not looked, I mean, he could have ended up going out and hitting the corner flag. But he knew where he was going, because he knew where the keeper were. So little things like that, you know, just are important to me, and also it's important to the football fan. You know?
Yes, I was saying that those things that you've just mentioned, that they sticking to the game, sticking to what the teams can change, what they can do better, the formations that they're playing, where people are playing wrong, pointing those things out. Obviously, that's what analysis is, right? When you want ex-players to actually analyze the game, it's based on these two teams. What can this team do better to actually nullify what this team is doing better, because now they're being dominated. A lot of the times when you watch the analysis in especially DSTV Premiership, please watch it this season, because I know you were a coach, so you couldn't watch most of the analysis. When you watch them, they actually most of the things that they're saying aren't things that are like, you don't get that insight that you'd like to get to actually.
Well, and look, like I said, another one is Croatia. Croatia, when they played Scotland, the 2 goals that they scored came from the back. They got the same amount of possession. They had the same amount of passing. It was I think it was 2 seconds difference in both goals. So again, you know, you do a split screen. You show one goal and the other goal, and again, it gives the punters watching, you know, wow, it's so similar. Build up from the back, goes wide, comes inside, scores a goal. And it was 1 minute, I think 1 minute 21 seconds and 1 minute 19 seconds. So it's in the same style. And I say you've got to watch it and understand it and think, well, hang on, will this be relevant to the football fan? Damn right, it's relevant.
Yes, which brings us to another point, especially in that when it comes to analyzing, is video analysis during games important? And especially when you watch a lot of English Premier League, or video analysis is actually important so that the fans some fans can't visualize what you're saying, but if you can put it on a screen on video analysis, then a fan can see, especially with those tables, because SuperSport used to have those things. I don't know where they went now.
Look, you know, when if I'm preparing for a game against Kaizer Chiefs, I'll watch the 2 previous games that they've played. You know, you can't just watch one, because you know they're playing different teams and may play a different formation, a different style. But you can appreciate what Kaizer Chiefs' strengths are. You know, you know, when Gavin was there, they get the ball in the box quick. You know, they hit Nurkovic from set pieces. They don't overplay. They trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So we have to, you know, I do all the video analysis myself. I haven't been blessed with 4 or 5 video analysis like the likes of Sundowns, Chiefs and Pirates have. I do it myself, because at least then, you know, if we do lose, it's down to me, not preparing right. So if I ask you to do the video analysis and you actually don't do it right, I can't turn around and say to you, it's your fault. It's my fault at the end of the day, because I've been lazy. So, you know, and plus I see things differently to a young video analysis. Again, it's possibly never kicked a ball. He's just a tech giant, you know, he's just come from university, good on an iPad. You know, so it's important that, you know, you address that. Well, I address that myself. You know, like I said, I can spend all week just watching bits of games. And I'm pedantic when it comes to set pieces, especially against, you know, I will take a picture of the set piece, I will print it in colour, stick it on the wall in the dressing room, and pointing arrows into where the ball goes, you know, who the guys, what numbers are the ones that, you know, attack the ball. And I think we did very, very well this year at TTM. I think we considered 3 goals from set pieces in the 15 games that I was there.
That's a good that's a good number. And and you actually got quite some flack actually for what you said, especially on Twitter, when you said when you spoke about you not re-signing with it was formerly TTM, now it's Marumo. What you said to the chairman, who's Majola reported it, or I saw it on his Twitter feed. I don't know if he reported it. And then the story goes that you had the same a proper license, a pro license, because you've coached for Goma here, and you said you've coached for Champions League teams and teams that are in the Confederations Cup. Now they saying that my UEFA pro license is not is not good enough?
I haven't got the pro license. They said that you need a pro license. Nobody's got a pro license in South Africa. There's no pro license courses in South Africa. The closest one that's just finished is in Morocco. So and you're talking between 12 and 15,000 US dollars to take your pro license. And that pro license doesn't guarantee you a job. It's just a credit card which says pro license coach. And you don't, there's thousands of very, very good, coaches that are out of work around the world that can't get a job, even with a pro license. So, and I've not been able to do my pro license because I've been in Africa. So it's very, very difficult to go overseas 4 times a year to do your license, and you do it for 2 years. So not only is it an expense of travel, but it's also time consuming and it takes you away from your football job. But their reason, and this is where what I didn't like about it, they wouldn't accept that I was telling them the truth. You don't need a pro license. You need an A license, because had that been the truth, then none of the Sundowns coaches, Pitso's not got a pro license, Gavin Hunt's not got a pro license, Benny McCarthy's not got a pro license. I don't think Stuart Baxter.
I thought Benny.
I don't know, but I don't know if Stuart Baxter's got one either. So if that were the criteria, then nobody would be able to coach in CAF. So, but that's not the case. I've spoke to Sundowns, I spoke to Chiefs. The prerequisite is a CAF or UEFA A license.
Oh,
and again.
So, is there a CAF Pro license? No, I just want.
There is a CAF Pro license, but there's no. There is a pro license, but there's no courses. You can't do one. South Africa has not got a pro license coach assessor, so there's no pro license courses to go on. Like I said, the closest one was done by a Shane Roberts, who's now the assistant to Patrick Vieira at Crystal Palace. He did one in Morocco this year. So there's, unless I do my UEFA pro license, I'm going to have to go back to England or go back to Scotland to do it, because I can't do it from here. I can't do it from Africa. It's too time consuming and too much. The expense of it is too much.
That's very. So that's the only reason why that ended, because they said, no, you need this. Why didn't they just say straight up that, you know what, we will not require your services anymore?
They don't. They never do. That's the $100 million question. Why can't they just tell you the truth? But they never do. If they don't want you, just say, listen, we don't want you. We're not going to renew your contract. I made them an offer which was fair. They came back and made me an offer which was insulting. And that was it. There was no discussions about, coming to an agreement or can we meet halfway, or there was nothing like that. Plus, they were doing trials while I was doing the Euros. They were doing trials, which I didn't want to do trials for the PSL club. Nah, no, that doesn't happen. Imagine Man United and Liverpool doing trials. It beggars belief. And I knew when I met the chairman the day before they changed the name and held the changing of the name to Marumo Gallants, to see that it wasn't appreciative of the job I'd actually done for TTM. Saved him a fortune, winning the Nedbank Cup.
Yeah.
That Nedbank Cup will not come back to Limpopo province again. I'm telling you, it'll never come back to Limpopo province.
But okay, so you win, right? And then now, don't you have an agent? That's the question that I'd like to ask, because
I do have I've got an agent, but he's more of a friend and an advisor than an agent. And I met him in 2009 at Supersport, Paul Mitchell of Sea of Rumour Sports, and he's now, I think he's got a partner called Keegan in Cape Town that deals with everything now, and he's main base company is a company called Base in the UK, so he's kind of more working on that European market. But yeah, I mean, agents, they can be good, they can be They could be good, they could be bad. I mean, I've had at least 50 agents approach me and say, do you want to go to Rwanda? Do you want to go to Dubai? Do you want to go to Asia? Do you want to go to America? Do you want to go? And, you know, and then you say, oh, yes, I wouldn't mind doing that. Then the next one is, I've got this player from Cameroon. I've got this player from Senegal. I've got this player, you know. So they try and lure you in with a possible opportunity. The next 20 messages are all fucking players that they want to trial. Or they want you to sign, you know. So yeah, it's Paul's good. Paul's a good agent, you know. He's straight down the line, Paul. So, but as of now, there's been nothing. There's been nothing happening. You know, we did try and get Evidence Makgopa to go to Denmark to FC. I think it was FC Copenhagen, but the boy has done the stupidest thing, in my opinion, and stayed in South Africa.
He had wait. He's with the agency that you're signed to, and he had an offer to go.
Yep, he turned it down. He turned it down. I don't. When I see him, I'm going to knock him out. That guy, I'm telling you now, that guy, had he scored 10, 15 goals in Denmark, would have been playing for Chelsea next year. Would have been playing for Arsenal. Could be playing for Bayern Munich. Could be playing for PSG. Could be playing for the top Spanish team, top Italian team. If he'd have scored 15 goals, and he would, and in my opinion, he would have done that at a canter, and he would have been earning, you know, probably a million rand a week. He would have been earning minimum. He would have been earning £1 million, and he went and signed for somebody for 40,000 rand a week. That makes sense, eh?
So he just moved. So there's he's moving somewhere. I thought he was.
It's time for. He's signed for Pirates, but he's gone back on loan. He's gone back on loan to Barocca. Again. Are you kidding me? Orlando Pirates haven't got a striker. They've got the best young and up and coming South African striker. You know, they're going to loan back to Barocca. Give me a piece. But you can't tell these people anything. They can't see sense. He could have been in Europe and never come back to South Africa again. In my opinion, he could be playing in the Premier League next year. Not next year, this after. 1 year in Denmark, and then they'll have sold him for big money. Big money. Because he's a good kid. He's a good kid.
He's got set. I saw him at the Olympics, where it's kind of a pressure test. And he just looks so calm, composed. First touch, he has it. The calmness, the coolness in front of goal, he has it. Left foot, right foot, he has that. He has the height to.
Everything. He could have been Lukaku. He could have been a Lukaku potentially. He could have been Lukaku because he'd have gone over and he'd have gone to Denmark and worked in a proper environment. He'd have trained in a proper environment. He would have been put on a very, very strict gym regime to stock him up. And I think I believe if he'd have gone, he would have been playing in the English Premier League, if not Spain, France, Germany, or Italy. He would have been playing at a top club because he's a raw talent. He's a raw talent that I found playing MDC as a midfielder, and then I brought him into training. Played him in midfield against Hungry Lions in the cup. He was absolutely horrendous. And I said, no, this guy's a forward. Get it? So I took him, I swapped him at half time. I put him up front. Never looked back.
So you were the one that, so he was playing, or when you were coaching for Barocca, you gave him his first team.
Yeah. He was playing for MDC, and I went to watch him twice, and I loved him. He was playing as a number 10. And he was doing all right. And against Kaizer Chiefs, he did very, very well. And I brought him into training. And I gave him his debut against Hungry Lions a week later. It didn't work for him in midfield as a number 10. It didn't work for him. So I put him up front. And never looked back. Never looked back.
So him playing in midfield, that's where all the controlling, how he can control the ball comes from. Because now his link-up play is very good and he can control the ball very well. And even he still has to work on some of his runs, but those are things he can work on. And Pirates have Zakele Lepasa, who I think works very well for Zimbabwe, because now they have, but he's been injured since January. I don't know what's going on with their medical team.
Yeah. Because he's going back to Barocca on loan, so and Pirates haven't got a striker. So I spoke to Mandela last week. I said, Mandela, you've got the best striker in South Africa, but you've loaned him back to Barocca. So you're mad.
The mismanagement that goes on. But anyway, and I'd actually like to talk to it's actually nice talking to coaches, how you guys actually plan and how you guys actually talk and how you guys think. Actually, it's quite nice. It's refreshing because sometimes you get to speak to players and just to get the other side of the story. How you guys find players, like evidence, and you saw that, nah, this is not working. Let me try and put him up there. What actually made you say this guy is an archetypal forward? What are the qualities that he had in order to be for you?
Well, he didn't have the pace a midfielder needs to have, And I played. The chairman of Barocca told me that this Zimbabwean we had, who was a midfielder, played for the national team as a striker. So I gambled. I put him up front, and it wasn't working. Evidence was playing in midfield as a number 10. It wasn't working, but I could see his stature. He's tall, and he's got a lengthy stride. And I decided, just for me, he'd be better as a striker, target man. But not just solely as a target man like Nurkovic. He can actually run in behind. He can make runs, and he did very, very well. Did very, very well against Hungry Lions, and. For the rest is history. He was always in my team. He's always started, and he started big last year. I think he got 7 goals, which is a bit poor, really. But it's the way Barocca play doesn't help him. So, but no, I mean, for him not to go abroad, he's going to regret it for the rest of his life. There may be an opportunity for him to go still, but at 21, he could have had one good season in Denmark, and he could have been the next Lukaku for me. And he's going to sign for Chelsea for 94 million.
Yeah, Pirates.
So you can imagine how angry his agent is. His agent sold him for 15 million rand. For 15 million.
But that's a good price in South Africa, but he could have been sold for more.
The beauty of as well, there's a former Liverpool player called Stig Bjornaby that actually spotted him. And he, sorry, I've just got to reply to this message. And he had watched him a few times on the internet, and they offered, like I said, they offered 13 million plus 2, and the chairman of Barocca turned it down.
Leicester.
A lot less.
Leicester.
A guy called Stig Bjornaby, who used to be at Liverpool. He's now technical director in Copenhagen.
Oh, so, Denmark. So that's where the Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but hey, he'll live to regret it.
Yeah, they've just signed Luther Singh, if I'm not mistaken. It's them. I think it's.
They have. So he was already in Portugal anyway. So
yeah,
he's had a good World Cup. So they've signed him. Yeah, but it's crazy. I mean, Masonda, when I was at Black Leopards, we got him a contract in Greece at AEK Athens, and they wanted to pay 8 million rand for him, and the chairman wanted double, and obviously Masonda were going to get 250,000 euros signing fee, and then he was going to get, I think it was on about 250,000 rand a month they were offering, and the chairman turned it down, and a year later he let him go for free. So he could have got 8 million for him. Masonda would have been very, very happy and wealthy in Greece. Goodman Marcel was offered to a team in Israel for, I think, 11 million. But he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. He wanted to stay in South Africa. We try and help people. So if I ever offer you a job as a pundit in England, don't tell me no. Just go.
I'd leave within the blink of an eye. To be honest, I'd leave.
I'd swim.
So Goodman Masale had a chance to go abroad. And this is one of the things that I was talking about. I always talk to people about this, that South African players have become too comfortable playing in South Africa. When we were at our best, most of our players were playing abroad. And when you check at most African countries that actually dominate, bar Egypt, they usually have their players playing abroad.
Well, I just think it's a no-brainer to just go and do something with your career. Is to play abroad, to play at the best level you can do, because you can always come back to South Africa. In fact, while we're on this, I'm just going to send a message to Dean Furman, right? I got him a trial. I got him fixed up with a trial at Wrexham. Excuse me. So he played yesterday, and I've just said any news because my friend is the manager at Wrexham, and I told him all about Dean Furman, and he's been on trial all week, and I think he had a game yesterday, and if he did well, I think we're going to offer him a contract. So I've just sent Dean a wee message. So see how I get. See, so even I didn't know Dean Furman only from a player. When I knew he was England and I knew he was free, I spoke to my friends. I've spoke to a few clubs and told them, sign this Dean Furman. He's a good player. So I forgot there his game was yesterday. So I've just asked him quickly, how's he gone on? Any news? I want 50%.
So, and it's actually so strange. I usually think that most of these players don't have a chance, or they usually don't have chances to actually go abroad. But now, actually speaking to you, most of these players have actually had a chance to go abroad and they've turned it down.
It's like I say, it's their choice, but and I've always, like I said, I've lived by the motto of no regrets, so whatever I've done, I've done, and I would say 95% of it has been absolutely brilliant. But that's me. I'm different. I took a chance to come to South Africa as an 18-year-old, to leave my mum, leave my dad, leave my brother, my sister, leave all my friends to come and follow my dream, which is playing football. And it made me who I am today, a better person. Those 3 years being in this country made me a better person. And it's so nice when I walk down the streets in Polokwane and older people that are selling sweets on the street corner will shout at me and say, "Coach, I remember when you played at Arcadia Shepherds. I remember when you scored a goal against Sundowns. I remember when you scored a goal against Chiefs." And that's in Polokwane, and you don't get that unless you've got a bit of ambition and a bit of something about you. But like I said, we have to advise people to do the best thing. But at the end of the day, it's their decision. It's their choice. Stupid, but their choice.
So, okay, now
stupid, the word.
As we go forward, right? Now you carry on. You come to Black Aces, and how does you first go to Gor Mahia, which is a big club, and I didn't know that you coached Gor Mahia before that. Before like doing research, I was like, you've actually coached big clubs, and here in South Africa, you've only coached the small to that medium bracket. Why do you think that is? And you also have coached Simba. How did that Simba or Goma here? What did not work out in those stints?
Simba was brilliant. I mean, Simba have got, and this is no disrespect to Chiefs or Pirates or any other team in Africa, but Simba have got the best fans. They've got their fans. They're not even that rubbish up there. These fans are absolutely the best in Africa. You know, they are absolutely, they're all over Tanzania. There's not just, one, there's millions of them in Tanzania. Wherever you go, the stadiums are always packed with Simba fans. It doesn't matter where you go. If you drive 5 hours to a soccer game, the stadium's going to be packed with Simba fans. Wow. It's brilliant. You can't beat the Sowetan Derby. The Sowetan Derby is brilliant. The Mashimeji Derby in Kenya's big. But the Tanzanian derby, Yanga versus Simba, that's some atmosphere. And I went to Tanzania, and it started very, very well, and we didn't have what Simba have got now. We didn't have the money then, so we just had just average players. There were no superstars, no big hitters. There were no big names. We just had good, honest, hard-working players. But the problem with Simba, they had 6, 7, 8 board members that were all had their own interests at the club, and what we played a tournament in Tanzania, in Zanzibar, called the Mapinduzi Cup. And it was we played 5 games in 6 days. So we played every other day. Every day we played. And I wouldn't play my first team. I wouldn't play my regulars. I just play my squad players. And we got beat in the semi-final. And the club weren't happy. But it was just a local tournament. It didn't mean anything to me. I wanted to go for the league. I wanted to go for the cup. This Mapinduzi wasn't. It's a local tournament. That takes place in Zanzibar, and it's a brilliant tournament. Don't get me wrong, but you can't play your best players 5 games in 6 days. You're going to lose injury. They're going to be tired. So I played all the fringe players, and they didn't like it, and we just agreed to. I wanted to go this way, they wanted to go that way, and there was no way we could get. So I just left, and then I went to Chesterfield Academy, and then I got a phone call from Goma here to go and basically win them the league and qualify for CAF, which we did. And we played in CAF the next year, and we actually got beat by the eventual winners, Esperance. But we'd actually battered them in both games. We just couldn't. We lost 1-0. We just couldn't score. Then I got the offer. The following year, we won the league again. We've got into the group stages of the Confederations Cup. We played Everton in Liverpool. We went over and played Everton in a friendly, and then I got offered this position at Black Leopards, and I came out to Black Leopards, kept them up. My mum was ill, so I went home, and unfortunately she passed away. Some 5 months later. So I told Leopards I wasn't coming back. After my mum died in September, I was waiting, nothing coming. I went to America, and then got a phone call from Barocca. So I flew back from America, came back to South Africa, and then obviously the bubble and the lockdown, and then I'm at DRC at the moment I'm claiming unfair dismissal from Barocca, which is going to be due to be heard on the 23rd of August. And I wouldn't say foolishly, but I went back to Black Leopards, and that was a mistake. Going back to your old club, because you can never replicate what you did before. And plus, the chairman decided to employ an assistant that wanted to kill me, and eventually killed the club as well, because he got him relegated out of the PSL. That coach Siema.
Why did he to kill you?
Oh, because he wanted the job. He wanted to be coach. So rather than work with me, he was trying his hardest to make sure that we weren't right. And we played Chipper, his old team. We lost 3-0. We could have won 4-3. We could have lost 6-0, but we eventually lost 3-0. And the day after that, I resigned. I couldn't work with this guy. Not somebody that's stabbing you behind your back. No, can't work with people like that.
So
and then he nearly takes Chipper down, and now he's going to take Golden Arrows down because he's I just can't believe, but hey, let's hope they don't go down.
Oh, so how do you, okay, so did he give Chipper those your playbook, or what happened? What made you think that he was backstabbing you?
Just the way it were. You just knew. That the chairman had brought him in for a reason. And I should have left when they brought him in because I didn't need an assistant. And then rather than work with you, he wanted the job, and I think the chairman promised him the job if we got beat against Pirates. I think I would have been fired. But we beat Pirates 2-0, and he sat down. He sat on the bench like this the whole game. Didn't celebrate the goals. Didn't jump up and down when we won because he knew that he wasn't going to get the job. And then against Chipper, his old team, he told me the worst advice ever about the opposition. This player's no good. This player's weak. This player's not quick. This player hasn't got any skill. And they were brilliant. And we 2-0 down at half time. Me and him had the biggest fight in the room. Like I say, he got what he wanted, but then but what he did do, he sent Black Leopards back to the NFD.
Okay. So you said you were claiming unfair dismissal from who? Baraka or
Baraka?
Why?
Baraka. Well, because I was dismissed unfairly, but I can't go into it.
Oh yeah.
I can't go into it yet.
Oh, so based on your contract and everything, you're like, no, this was an unfair dismissal. That's why you.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going for. We're going for breach of contract and unfair dismissal.
Okay. Okay, guys.
Can't speak about it now.
Yeah, it's an ongoing case, guys. So yeah.
Yes.
Can't go in. You guys, I think both sides obviously usually are told to not go. You can't speak to anyone publicly about the inner workings of an ongoing case, right?
Yeah. It's with the DRC. The beauty of it is I can still take it to FIFA. So one way or another, it will be decided either here in South Africa. I've given the benefit to my lawyer and to the DRC because I've been told the DRC is very fair now, very, but you know how it works in South Africa. You know how it works. So it's going to be an interesting meeting.
Now, good luck with that, because especially the DRC, it takes its time, doing things. Because look at the Royal AM situation, and at least your lawyer gave you the right advice. Because first, go through footballing. Don't go to no court of law. Go to a court of sports.
Yeah.
Because now at least everything gets a bit sped up, and it has to deal with sports. And like what happened at Royal AM, I don't know who gave them that legal advice to actually go the legal.
I know, it's crazy.
Because if they had gone the sporting route, they could have gotten the playoffs stopped before they even played one game.
They should have played the playoffs. I think they could have beaten. I think they could have won the playoffs. I really do think they could have won the playoffs. But unfortunately,
they didn't play.
Unfortunately, they've decided to go down the legal route, and it's been, not proven. So whether or not the Supreme Court makes a decision, but you can't fight Irving Kaizer. You'll never win. You'll never win.
But it's too late though, because now the league is gonna start, and you can't now because a court of law takes so much time now. Once the league has started, there's nothing that a court of law can
Well, isn't it supposed to be heard on the 12th of August?
12th of August. Oh,
Yeah, next
around
week.
the corner. Yeah. But anyway, they lost at the High Court. Most likely they'll lose there at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but the High Court was for a different thing. The High Court was for
to stop, to stay
playing the playoffs.
Yeah, so now they're going for something else. But we'll see what happens.
Well, it's like I say, I can't see them beating Irving Koza at this, and they've wasted a hell of a lot of money, you know. But again, you know, rightly or wrongly, you know, the decision to award Sekikuni the 3 points. Why didn't they do that in January? Why wait till the end of the season? You know, only in Southern Africa can this happen. You know, nothing's ever straightforward. In fact, I've actually spoke to Ronnie Schloss at the PSL and said, please let me work for the PSL. Let me fix this. Let me fix this football country, because we've got 1 year to qualify for the World Cup, and if we don't qualify for the World Cup, it's going to be disaster. We were rubbish in the early. We were absolutely crap in the Olympics. You know, they needed to win the last game to qualify, with an outside chance of qualifying. They scored 2 goals. Didn't even try. No leadership on the field, no leadership off the field. You know, it was terrible. It was terrible to watch. You know, you score 4 goals against 3 goals against
France,
and then you lose the game 4-3. You know, you lose the game 4-3. You know, and you take the lead 3 times. Nah, they got that wrong. They got the wrong. They could have done a lot better, but you know, maybe one day.
The tone was set in the first match. Had we gone at Japan, we could have qualified, because South Africa is not very good. We all know that South Africa, especially when you have to qualify with let's say you left with 1 match to qualify, it never works out for South Africans, for especially South African football teams. So secure it early. He went with a defensive mindset against Japan, and if he had gone at Japan, we would have won. Seeing how we played against France. I mean, we played France off the park.
Yeah, no, I just can't. You know, I'm shouting at the TV. Don't make subs. Don't make subs. Don't make subs. Don't make fucking subs. What's he doing? Bring 2 subs on. Equalise. Score another goal. Don't make the subs. Don't make a sub. Take play it off. Another one. You cannot make substitutions straight after a goal that you've scored.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Waiting to hear from the gaffer. Hoping for a decision today.
Oh, so that's Dean Henderson Wrexham, guys.
Dean Furman.
Yeah, Dean Furman. I don't know why I'm thinking of Dean Henderson. Sometimes United players get stuck in me. And what we were talking about, we could have qualified had the first match actually been taken more serious, or because it felt like he was fine with just taking a point from that match, and that's not how you set the tone, because the first match sets the tone for your entire competition. So if you fail at that, so eventually you'll fail.
Yeah, like I say, this country, I think obviously the Springboks won yesterday, which was a good boost for rugby. But the Olympics, you know, you're looking at, you know, the heavy favourites that didn't win. You know, the girl the picture of that girl that won the Olympic gold in swimming, and she broke the world record. I mean, the picture on her face when she realised that she'd just broken the world record. I think that should inspire every single South African to try and do better. This country, in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, probably had the best athletes that weren't allowed to play on the international stage. You know, you had Jomo Sono, you got Asin Slengwe, you got Professor Ngabani, you got all these, Thomas Shlongwane, all these talented players, and you got runners. You know, obviously Zola Budd had to leave and go and become a British citizen to do what she wanted to do. You know, and because of apartheid, they were never given that opportunity to showcase themselves. And I think, you know, now cricket's struggling. Rugby's without the fans is struggling. Springboks are winning. We've not done very, very well, and I'm saying we because I'm practically nearly South African. We've not done well with the funding and the resources that we've got in this country. We should be bigger and better and at the top end of that table rather than middle below. And I mean, Wayne van Niekerk was a strong favourite for the 400 meters. Didn't even make the final.
But I was convinced with him, especially after I saw the first run. I was like,
yeah, I mean, let's say it's maybe an extra year, psychologically and fitness wise. It should have been done in 2020. Obviously, it weren't because of COVID. So, but I've watched the Olympics. I've listened to Dwayne commentary on most of the stuff. I think SuperSport have put in a great package of what the Olympics delivered. Yes, it wasn't the same because of
fans.
The fans not being allowed to go. And yesterday, the Springboks, the fans weren't allowed to go. Football, the fans are still not allowed to go here, even though in England you can sell out the stadiums again. So we do miss it as football fans, being at the ground and watching the game live rather than the TV. But I think this year, for Bafana especially, they have got to qualify for the World Cup. They have got to. If they don't, that's going to be another 4 years wasted. We can't plan and we can't start saying, we need to get ready for 2026 or 2030 or 2030. We can't do that because you're going to miss out. So and starts this new coach, if he's in the country, should be going around to watch Premier League games, MTN8 game next week, and go and look at players and go and identify talent to take South Africa through. Because it's going to be massive, this World Cup. This World Cup's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant.
Remember, this coach didn't live in, he was coaching Cameroon. He never lived in Cameroon, but he was like, South Africa. And like, I'm fine, I can live there. He never lived there. He told them, I'm not living here. That was one of the disputes of why he left there. You're like, how can you coach us and you don't live here? He never lived here. Why not living here? Like, no.
How can you watch players if you don't live there?
But he won them their AFCON when they had failed with players like Samuel Eto'o in their Palms. And, they had so many players. But Eto'o, the linchpin. Cameroon at one point, they had a star-studded team, failed to win, and he won it with vertically a whole lot of nobodies.
Yeah, exactly. But like I say, he's now got an opportunity now to do it here. Now got an opportunity to do it here, and he has to do it here for the sake of football in this country.
Yeah. This has been this is the first interview I've actually laughed so much. It's actually been
it's good.
Yes, it's been
it's good. Like I say, like I said, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion on football. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. But the one thing, this is football's my baby. So it'll always be number one in my life. And I say, did I expect to be out of work after last season? No. Did I? Would I be stupid enough to take an offer that disrespected what I did last season? No. We'll see what happens at the start of the season. A lot of teams have been buying players. Sekou bought players. Stellies, Cape Town City, Maritzburg have signed players. Chiefs have signed players. Pirates, I don't think have signed many. Sundowns have signed. So hopefully, fingers crossed, something might come up, very shortly. If not, I'll just wait till halfway through the season. The bottom of the league will pick me up, and I'll bring them back to life. Hey, do you know they give me a nickname? I've got a South African nickname at last.
What?
They're giving me a nickname, CPR. CPR. I keep bringing clubs back to life. So finally, I've got a South African name. It's only took 36 years, but I've got a South African name.
Yeah, without a nickname, you can't be part of South African culture. You have to have a nickname.
No, you can't. No.
Even the new coach, they're already calling him Hugo Boss. They're not gonna call him Hugo Bruce. Hugo Boss is not Hugo Bruce. So in the meantime, don't you think that football actually, if you go and look at now what's happening is that people that are like yourself, more forthright, actually honest about football and bleeding their hearts out, especially when you check out Junior Kanya on Itiski TV, the YouTube channel. He's doing amazing numbers. Why? Because he's honest and he's passionate about what he does. He just gives you what his thoughts are on that game and what he saw or what he sees in that game. So people,
but that's what you got to be. Huh? You got to be like that. You don't bullshit people, because people can see straight through you. They can see straight through you once you talk a lot of crap. They can, and they switch off. They switch off. So, always be straight and upfront with players. Speaking to one of my former players at TTM. I don't know. We call him Tight. Former Chiefs player, and we were sat there talking. I was talking to him yesterday, and he's never forgiven me because I left him out the squad for the Kaizer Chiefs game, because he was in a bar that he didn't. He was in a bar that he didn't think I would go there because I'm white. He didn't think that the last person he sees in this bar, and in I walk with the Nedbank Cup. I walk in this bar with the Nedbank Cup, and he's hiding. He's hiding like he's trying to hide. So he's not forgiven me for doing that. He's not forgiven me, but he understood. He understood why, and it's because I told him. I was straight with him. I said, "Listen, you can't be in a pub 2 days before a game. I wasn't drinking." I said, "Don't lie to me. You were drinking. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I know you'll put the beer or the brandy under the table?" Sometimes, like I say, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But at least you told the truth. At least you're given the right reasons. Not trying to hide things. So it's the best way to be is, like I said, passionate, believe in it, and be enthusiastic. And that's why people bounce off you. That's why we're having this conversation. We're laughing, because it's how things should be told. Unfortunately, you can't tell all the stuff because, like I say, my court case. I'm having to take TTM to DRC for my Nedbank bonus. So that's not a nice thing to do, but. They gave me that bonus in my contract. So if I win the Nedbank Cup, I get 10% to 7 million.
Hey, don't go around telling people that.
Well, when I was at Simba, they owed me $15,000, and my driver, who was like 2'3", smaller than Dundonlo, he said to me, "Coach," and they give me cash. He says, "Coach, give me a bag. You can't walk out of here with that bag." I said, "Why not?" He says, "Trust me, you'll get stabbed. There's people outside waiting for you to come out." Because obviously the people who gave me the money would have told somebody outside. Anyway, he said, I gave him my bag, and he went round the corner to the pub. And as I walked out, I could see all these guys, who wouldn't normally be there on motorbikes, just hanging around. So they saw me walk out with nothing. So they couldn't do anything. But luckily, I had my driver, so I gave him a nice present. So, but they would have done. They would have stolen the money. They'd have stolen the money. So
how is Philip Ndlondlo anyway? Because a lot of people would have actually have said that he would have suited Pirates in terms of playing style wise because he could dictate the midfield, could destroy.
No, Philip's got a good football brain, and he's a good professional. But when he plays for himself, he's a bad player. You know, and 2 or 3 times, you know, I've had to drop him from games because his previous games he were doing things himself, and he was making him look bad, and he was like making us look bad. So, but you know, the cup final itself, you know, he would always shoot from 45 yards. And I said to him, listen, next time you shoot from 45 yards, I'm going to shoot you. You know, so I says, when you get to 20, 25 yards, then you can shoot. You know, because you're only a little guy, you've got a lovely, lovely shot on him, but you can't reach the goals from 45 meters. They might score a goal. So stop trying. And what did he do? 88 deflection goal from 25 meters. So I didn't end up killing him. I kissed him.
So what do you think of the talent that we actually have? Because I was talking to Ethan Brooks the other day, who I think is a talent. What are your thoughts on him?
On talent in South African football?
Yes.
There's some very, very talented players here, but I don't think the mindset is right. And I think, you know, the best players always end up at Sundowns. Sekhukhune have signed some good players, but will they be able to mentally rise to the challenge of playing in the PSL? There's some good players here, but it's nurturing that talent, and they've got to become better both on the field and off the field to reach a standard. And again, like I said, back in the 80s, you know, players then compared to now, there was no comparison. There were brilliant players then, and they had the right mentality. They had the right ways of playing and performing and living. You know, it's easy now. Players have got more money, they've got a better social life, they've got Instagram, they've got Tinder, you've got everything today. You know, I mean, when I first came to South Africa, you know, the rules were golf, GTI, beer, and women. You know, that's all that mattered to footballers. You know, so what do you see all players drive? Golf GTIs. What do you see them? They've got loads of women. Where do you see them? Out drinking. You know, so you know you're never going to stop that because they're adults, but they should remember that they're in a special place and they're privileged to play and be paid by a club. They should always be on that better level than what they are. So the talent's here. It's managing that talent. It's getting the best out of that talent. You know, so the likes of Evidence, who we spoke about earlier, you know, potential is unbelievable. Now, what's he going to do with that potential? You know, who knows? Only he will decide that. But he needs to be nurtured properly. He needs to be looked after, and he needs to make sure he follows his own path instead of going, you know, with other players and, you know, under peer pressure to do this and do that and buy this, you know, and just keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and keep your head out of the sky. So that's what he's got to do. That's what players should do. They should take responsibility for their lives on and off the field, because it's only a short career. It's only a short career, this football. And if you can imagine how many players I must have had about 1,000 plus players that Dean, that are looking for clubs. That's just in South Africa. That's not even the thousands that have come from all over Africa that want to come and play. You know.
So, Coach, sorry to interrupt you. No, this is my final question. So, this is my final question. A lot has been said about coaches from abroad like yourself actually coming into South African football, and a lot of people have said you guys have taken away some of the South African football identity which was in the game, which is actually ball playing, playing the ball on the ground, a la when we play against Spain or Brazil. We we actually show up and we give them a hard time. Why? Because we can play the ball on the ground, and you guys, some coaches want to play the ball up in the air. So what are your thoughts on that?
Look, in any job, if you look at my CV, I'm apart from Barocca, I've never been fired, and everything I've done, I've won. I've won a trophy, or I've maintained a PSL status, or I've qualified for CAF. I've qualified for confederations. So I've got a lot of success on my CV. There's a lot of coaches that haven't got that success, but they've got good agents. They can talk bullshit and get into teams. I've seen it. I've seen them come and go in Kenya. I've seen them come and go in South Africa. Same in Tanzania. Same in Vietnam. And I'm fortunate that my style of football is mirrored to how I played, with passion, with enjoyment, with enthusiasm, and with options to score goals, and not do it the direct way, not go and play the more direct foreign way of football. Okay. And I've actually adjusted my coaching to suit African players, and it's worked. 3 clubs, bottom of the league, 8 points, relegation candidates, relegation favourites, and we've maintained the status by playing good football. And whenever I walk down the street, the first day that somebody gives me abuse is the first day that I'll know that I'm not doing a good job for South African football. But money's never been my motivation in football. I'm lucky to be where I am. I'm proud of doing what I've done. So as long as I can, look after myself, then money's not the be all and end all. But I do know on other things that a lot of coaches will take a job just for the salary and the expectations. So, but I can't really speak about other coaches, other foreign coaches. All I can say is that when I came here in 1986, did I ever think I'd come back in 2009? Never in a million years. Did I think I'd return in 2018? Not in your lifetime. But I always had that ambition of coming back to South Africa and helping South African football. Not try and be selfish and just use it for my own advantages. But I want to help SAFA. I want to help the PSL. I want to help the MDC. MDC should not be 18. It should not be under 23s or under 21s. It should be a reserve league, because them young players need to play with experienced players to get better. The MDC concept is brilliant, but it's done all wrong for me. Because when I was 16, 17 years old, I was playing with all the senior pros, and I learned from them and I got better from them. When you're playing with your own age groups, you're not learning, you're not getting better, you're not becoming a man, you're not becoming, angrier, you're not becoming a bit more resilient. Your attitude doesn't grow up. You don't grow up playing with your own age. But when you're playing with the senior players, it helps you develop. Your strength of character. Your awareness, your ability becomes better, because remember, all the senior players don't want to lose. So if your younger players are not doing the job, they'll tell you, they'll hammer you, and that's the way it should be. But like I say, I've always tried to help wherever I've been, whichever country I've been, and I love doing what I'm doing, and I love having this chat with you. Apologies for yesterday, I totally forgot about it. But yeah, I'm hoping it's been good, and we've had a laugh. We've had, you got a great smile. That's made me smile. And yeah, hopefully it's okay.
Thank you so much, Coach. And I was gonna ask you, how's the red light district in Thailand? But anyway.
Never been to Thailand. Not even Vietnam. And the women are good. Best Vietnamese. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Coach, so much for your time.
All right. God bless. Keep in touch.
Yes,
keep in touch, okay?
Yes.
Listen, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm doing a podcast in England. Okay. So I'll try and get you the link and I'll send it to you. It'll be interesting.
or so I can listen.
Yeah.
Will do. I will do.
All right.
Yeah, you
All
send me-
right. Have a good Sunday.
Thank you very much, Coach. And
Have a good Sunday.
this has been Dylan Kerr with us, and it's been a nice conversation, guys. And yeah, it has been Sports Talk with Kifu, and I'm your host Kifu Njabulo Mahlangu. And so I'm so thankful to my guest today for giving us his time and for his insights and his knowledge. And this has been such a great interview. Till next time, guys. I'm out. Thanks, Coach.
All right. I'm going to go and get a beer.
Yeah.
Right. Listen.